Hello dear students, welcome back once again to Kamala Online Learning. We are back again with another informative video lesson from your schedule. Please be completely attentive during the teaching. Keep your textbook and also a rough book with you. Note down important points and difficult or new words as we go. This video lesson will begin with an overview which will give you an idea about the contents of the lesson. It will be followed by learning objectives. Please note down the learning objectives in your notes and try to answer them at the end of the session. If you have any doubts, rewatch the video and refer to your textbook and study material. In case you need further clarification, please mail your doubts to kamalaonlinelearning@gmail.com. This video is recorded with simple, easy to understand language and eye-catching graphics. We hope it helps you to understand the concepts better. So, let's get started.
Let us now look into the concept map of respiration in plants. Now, let us learn about the process of respiration in plants. As you already know, in most of the plants, the exchange of gases takes place at stomata present in leaf. Apart from stomata, there are other areas on the plant body through which gaseous exchange takes place, like surface of roots, lenticels on stem, etc. Some plants, such as mangrove, have specialized structures like breathing roots, and some plants like orchids have tissues that produces oxygen is also required by plants to produce energy and expel carbon dioxide. Let us learn the conduction within the plant. Inside the plant, there exists openings which leads to a series of spaces between the cells. These spaces are formed all over the plant. The spaces are very large in leaves and smaller in other parts of the plant. The air spaces are covered with water. The oxygen present in the air spaces dissolves in water and passes through the porous cell walls into the cytoplasm, where the sugar is broken down into carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of the energy. In the similar way, carbon dioxide also passes out into the air spaces. The whole system works by the process of diffusion, that is, as the oxygen is utilized by the cells, a gradient develops between the cells and the air in the spaces, and similarly between the air and the spaces and the air outside the stomata and lenticels, so oxygen passes in. In the same way, as more carbon dioxide is expelled by the cells, a gradient develops in the reverse direction and it passes out. Let us learn how different plants absorb oxygen through their roots. Most of the plants can supply air, their roots by taking in the oxygen from the lenticels or through the surface of their root hairs, as their walls are very thin. This oxygen at lenticels or surface of root hairs is obtained from the air spaces between the soil particles. Plants having their roots in wet places like ponds or marshes cannot do this. They are adapted to these waterlogged conditions by having much larger air spaces which connect the stems with the roots, making diffusion from the upper parts much more efficient. The most usual adaptation is to have a hollow stem. Next time, cut the stems of some of the plants near pond or marsh and see how many are hollow when compared to a similar number of species of plants growing in normal soil. It is observed that the problem of air transport is more difficult for trees, and many plants cannot survive with their roots permanently in water. But the mangrove tree of the tropics is exempted because it sends aerial roots above the surface and takes in oxygen in that manner. Attempt the following questions to check your understanding. Let us do an activity for the evolution of carbon dioxide during respiration. Take a handful of moong or bajra seeds. Soak the seeds in water a day before performing the experiment. Place these soaked seeds in a cloth and tie it tightly with the help of a string. Keep the entire assembly of cloth pouch in a corner of your classroom. Now take bottles with cork to close the mouth. Take 2 small bottles, like injection bottle, and fill it 3/4 with lime water and place one in each beaker. Next, place the dry seeds in one beaker and the germinated seeds that are collected from a cloth pouch in another beaker or bottle of 200 ml capacity. Close the mouth of the bottle or beaker with the help of cork and apply grease or Vaseline to prevent air going out of the bottle. Keep this entire assembly undisturbed for 1 or 2 days. Observe the change in the bottles after 2 days. It is observed that a greater amount of precipitate is found in the bottle with germinating seeds. The formation of the precipitate shows that carbon dioxide is produced by the respiring roots. From this experiment, it is understood that carbon dioxide is released during the process of respiration by germinating seeds. Here, let us perform an activity on how the heat is produced in germinating seeds during the process of respiration. Take the germinated seeds, which are prepared for the activity of evolution of carbon dioxide in respiration. Place the germinating seeds in a thermoflask. Remove the lid of thermoflask and prepare a cork with the help of thermocol or rubber or any other material provided. The cork must have a hole at the center in order to insert a thermometer. Now, close the flask with this tight-fitting cork and insert the thermometer through its hole. Take care that bulb of the thermometer must dip into the germinating seeds. Seal the hole present in the middle of the cork with either grease or Vaseline after inserting the thermometer through it. Record the temperature once for every 2 hours and continue this process for a total duration of 24 hours. Observe and note down the readings of temperature. It is observed that the temperature in the thermoflask increases. Draw a graph based on these values. Graph shows that the temperature is increasing steadily. Thus, from this experiment, it is understood that the heat gets generated during the process of respiration. Attempt the following questions to check your understanding. Drag and drop the names of the equations from the given options onto the given table respectively. Let us know more on photosynthesis versus respiration. Photosynthesis is the process in which plants prepare their own food from atmospheric carbon dioxide using light energy from the sun. This process constitutes a complex series of steps involving the conversion of light energy into chemical energy, which is then used to synthesize sugars from carbon dioxide. This is a process of synthesis or an anabolic process that takes place in chloroplasts. The equation shown on the screen explains the process of photosynthesis. The sugars produced can then be used for the process of respiration to provide energy for all the life processes. As we know that respiration is not just the exchange of gases, it is the process of breaking down of complex food molecules or catabolic process in order to produce chemical or potential energy. The equation shown on the screen explains the process of respiration. It is observed that the reactions of photosynthesis and respiration are opposite, but both have different biochemical pathways and are necessary for a plant's metabolism. Photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast of plants to produce sugars, starches, and other carbohydrates for the plant's metabolic needs. Cellular respiration occurs in mitochondria, in which these carbohydrates are burned in order to produce chemical energy to work at the cellular level. Generally, during daytime, the rate of photosynthesis is higher than that of respiration, while at night it is reversed in most of the plants. Temperature, humidity, light intensity, etc. may affect the ratio of photosynthesis and respiration in plants. Attempt the following questions to check your understanding. Match the following. Note: select suitable answer from Group B for Group A and drop it in bracket provided against A. Keywords. List of keywords are given on screen. Let us recap the highlights of this chapter. Respiratory system is generally the process that transports air to the lungs and from there to the microscopic air sacs in them is termed as the alveoli and vice versa. Generally, we know that breathing is the process of inhaling and exhaling of air. In this process, the organs involved are mainly lungs. The relative amount of gases and their combining capacity with hemoglobin and other substances in blood determine their transport via blood in the body. The carbon dioxide present in air, which we inhale, is generally transported to a bicarbonate, while some amount of it combines with hemoglobin and the remaining amount dissolves in blood plasma. The term cellular respiration refers to the pathway by which cells release energy from the chemical bonds of food molecules. This energy is used for the essential processes of life. Most of the plants can aerate or supply air their roots by taking in oxygen from the lenticels or through the surface of their root hair, as their walls are very thin. Photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplasts of plant to produce sugars, starches, and other carbohydrates for the plant's metabolic needs. Read the questions and attempt the answers on your own. You can click Answer for your reference. Test your understanding of the chapter by taking the mock unit test. You have successfully completed the chapter Respiration.